The orbital travel hub above Core mining colony was always crowded. Cargo haulers came and went every hour. Passengers rushed to different boarding gates, and vendors shouted about food or souvenirs. The loud hum of engines mixed with voices. In dozens of alien languages, humans were still new to the galaxy compared to many other species, so their presence often drew curious looks, but Aaron was used to it. He had been working as a technician on the colony for almost 2 years, and traveling through the hub no longer felt strange. That evening he walked slowly through the terminal, carrying a small pack on his shoulder. He was waiting for his transfer shuttle to dock, but the schedule screen showed another delay. He sighed, found a spot near a ticket machine, and leaned against a pillar. His mind drifted toward home, toward Earth, and how long it had been since he last saw it. As he waited, something caught his attention. An old alien stood in front of the ticket machine, bent over slightly, with shaky hands trying to press the display. The alien's skin was pale gray, stretched thin over a tall but frail frame. A long robe covered most of his body, but the fabric looked worn and faded, as if it had been kept for many years. Aaron noticed the problem right away. The machine beeped with a red signal and refused to accept the credits the alien was offering. The coins clinked softly as they fell back into the tray. The old figure tried again, lifting one trembling hand, but the machine rejected him once more. Round them, travelers moved quickly without slowing down. Some glanced in his direction, then turned away. The old alien's head lowered, and for a moment he looked completely defeated. Aaron could see the tiredness in his posture, as if this single task had drained all his energy. Something about that sight pressed against Aaron's chest. He knew the feeling of being ignored in a crowd, of being small and powerless, and he could not stand by while the alien struggled. Aaron stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said gently. The alien turned his head slowly. His eyes were dim yellow, tired but alert, and his voice came out low and rough. "Yes, you are trying to buy a ticket, right?" Aaron asked. The alien gave a small nod. "Yes, this machine does not accept my currency. It is old." He paused as if embarrassed. "I have not traveled for a long time." Aaron glanced at the screen. The destination listed was a small planet. Outside the main routes, nothing special. He looked at the rejected coins. They were indeed an outdated type, no longer accepted in most stations. He could already guess that no one else would step in to help. "I can cover it," Aaron said. Simply, the alien blinked as if he had not understood. "You would pay." "Yeah," Aaron replied. "It's not much." He pulled his card from his pack and slid it into the reader. The machine lit up green this time, and the ticket printed with a soft whir. Aaron handed it over. "There you go." For a moment, the old alien did not move. He stared at the slip of paper in his hand as if it were more than a ticket. His fingers closed around it slowly, and then he lifted his gaze back to Aaron. His expression was difficult to read, but his eyes had changed. They no longer looked only tired. Something brighter stirred in them, something almost alive. "Why?" the alien asked. Aaron shrugged. "Because you needed help. That's all." The alien stood quietly, holding the ticket as if it carried great weight. Then he gave a small bow, the motion graceful despite his frailty. "You're human," he said, his voice stronger now. "I will remember." Aaron felt awkward under the intense gaze. "Really?" "It's fine. Safe travels." The alien bowed again, slower this time, and then began to walk toward the boarding area. His steps were unsteady, but steady enough, and he kept the ticket held tightly against his chest. Aaron watched him go until he disappeared into the crowd. He leaned back against the pillar once more, letting out a breath he had not realized he was holding. Helping had cost him only a few credits, nothing that would hurt him. Yet the way the alien had reacted made it feel far larger. Around him, the hub carried on as usual. Traders shouted, engines hummed, children laughed, announcements echoed. But Aaron could not shake the memory of the alien's eyes when he asked that simple word. Why? It lingered in his mind, making him wonder what kind of life the old traveler had lived, what stories he carried behind that fragile frame. Aaron pushed the thought aside for now and adjusted his pack. His shuttle would arrive soon, and he needed to be ready. Still, he felt a faint warmth inside, the quiet kind that came from knowing he had done the right thing, even if no one else noticed. He had no idea that this small act, this simple kindness, would soon draw the attention of powers far beyond the colony. The boarding area was quieter than the main terminal. Fewer people rushed here, and the announcements were softer. Aaron sat on a metal bench, resting his pack by his side. He checked the screen again. His shuttle had not arrived yet. Delays were common on this route, and he was used to waiting. He leaned back, closed his eyes for a moment, and listened to the voices around him. Merchants bargained. Children asked questions, and the hum of the station never stopped. Then, a familiar voice reached him. Human. Aaron opened his eyes and saw the old alien walking toward him. Oran, as he would soon introduce himself, held the ticket carefully in one hand. His movements were still slow, but there was more steadiness now than before. You again, Aaron said with a small smile. I thought you already boarded. I was about to, the alien replied, lowering himself onto the bench beside Aaron. He took his time, making sure his robe did not catch on the edge. His breathing was heavy, but his eyes were sharp as they looked at Aaron. I wished to speak first. It is important. Aaron raised an eyebrow. Important? It was just a ticket. The alien's thin lips curled slightly, not quite a smile, but close. To you, it is small. To me, it is not. He placed one hand on his chest. My name is Iran. Long ago, I traveled many stars, but now I'm only an old man with old credits. Many would not care if I reached my destination or not. Yet you cared. Aaron shifted uncomfortably. He was not used to being thanked so directly. I just thought you needed help. That's all. Anyone would have done the same. Iran shook his head slowly. No. Many passed me. They looked, then turned away. You did not. You are human. I have met only a few of your kind, but I see something in you, a choice that others would not make. Aaron scratched the back of his neck. He did not want to argue, but it felt strange hearing such heavy words for something so simple. Well, back home, people say if someone needs help and you can help, then you should. That's it. Iran leaned back against the bench. His gaze seemed far away now, as if he were looking through the walls of the station and into memory. Long ago, in my youth, my people valued that same thought. We stood by one another. We remember that strength is not only in weapons, but also in kindness. Over time, we forgot. We grew proud. We measured worth only in power, in wealth, in victory. Those who grew old or weak became shadows, ignored by those who believed themselves strong. Aaron listened quietly. There was a weight in Iran's words, the sound of someone who had lived through change, who had seen something precious lost. He thought of Earth, of home. Humanity was far from perfect, but he hoped they would never lose that simple sense of helping each other. I see why it matters to you, Aaron said softly. Iran turned his eyes toward him again. Yes, and now, because of you, I travel once more. I will return to a place I thought I would never see. For that, I thank you. He bowed his head slightly. Gratitude is not enough, but it is what I can give now. Aaron smiled faintly. Then I accept it. The old alien let out a slow breath. For a while, they sat together in silence, surrounded by the quiet hum of the boarding area. Travelers came and went, but neither spoke. It was not uncomfortable. Aaron felt something, calm in Iran's presence, like sitting beside a storyteller who carried more years than anyone else in the room. Finally, Iran spoke again. May I ask your name? Human, Aaron? Iran repeated it carefully, as if committing it to memory. Aaron, I will not forget. Aaron chuckled lightly. It's not that special. To me, it is. Iran said firmly. The boarding announcement. For Iran's shuttle echoed through the hall. The alien rose slowly, gripping the edge of the bench for support. Aaron stood as well, ready to steady him if needed. But Iran lifted one hand to signal he was fine. Before leaving, Iran faced him. One last time. Aaron, sometimes a single choice changes more than we can see. You may think you gave only credits, but you gave something greater. You gave respect. You gave dignity. That is rare. Do not forget this moment, for I will not." With those words, Oran walked toward the gate. His robe swayed gently with each step, and the ticket glimmered faintly in his hand. Aaron watched until he vanished into the shuttle entrance. Left alone, Aaron sat back down. He felt both lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because he had done good. Heavier because Oran's words carried a strange gravity. He wondered why the old alien spoke with such weight, as if a simple act of kindness meant more than Aaron could understand. The station continued its endless rhythm. Aaron closed his eyes again, trying to push the thought aside, but Oran's voice echoed in his mind. Sometimes a single choice changes more than we can see. Aaron opened his eyes and looked out the wide window at the stars beyond. They stretched forever, cold and bright, endless paths leading to countless worlds. He had always thought of himself as small in that vastness, just another human among billions, just another worker moving between colonies. Yet for one old traveler, today he had not been small. He sighed, stood up, and adjusted his pack. His shuttle would not be long now. He thought he was ready for another routine trip, another ordinary journey. But fate had already marked him, though he did not yet know it. Minutes later, the ground beneath the station gave a faint shudder. Aaron frowned, unaware that the moment Oran disappeared into the shuttle, the stars outside had begun to shift with shadows of something greater. Approaching, the ground beneath Aaron's feet shook again, harder this time. The bench rattled, and several passengers glanced upward in alarm. A low hum rolled through the air, not like the usual sound of docked shuttles. This was deeper, heavier, as if the entire station vibrated in response to something outside. Aaron stood, gripping his pack. He looked toward the wide observation window that stretched across the boarding hall. Outside, the endless stars glimmered against black space, but now they were partly hidden by vast shadows. At first, he thought it was only a supply cruiser docking nearby. Then he saw the truth. 3 massive ships moved slowly into formation above the station. Their hulls shone silver under the system's pale sun. Each ship was shaped like a blade, sharp and precise, with glowing lines of energy running along their sides. Their arrival was silent to the eye, but the vibration of their engines echoed through the entire hub. Gasps filled the hall. People pressed to the windows, some whispering, others pointing in disbelief. Even aliens who usually ignored humans leaned forward with wide eyes. These were not ordinary vessels. The insignia painted across their hulls was unmistakable. The emblem of the Aerith Guard. Aaron had heard of them, though never seen them with his own eyes. The Aerith Guard were spoken of in hushed tones across the colonies, an elite fleet with a history stretching back centuries. They appeared only during times of great war or when called to honor ancient traditions. No pirate band, no common fleet, and no simple government patrol carried their name. What are they doing here? Someone whispered near Aaron. Elite. Ships like that don't visit mining colonies, another voice answered, trembling. The ships halted in perfect alignment, 3 Titans suspended just beyond the docking ring. Their glowing lights pulsed in rhythm, casting strange patterns across the glass walls. For a long moment, nothing happened. The entire station seemed to hold its breath. Then a sound cut through the silence. The speakers overhead clicked on, and a voice, calm but commanding, spoke in the common tongue. Attention, travelers. The Aerith Guard has arrived on official order. We seek one among you, human named Aaron. Step forward. Perrin froze. His name echoed through the hall, clear and sharp. Heads turned toward him. Confusion spread across every face near him. He felt his stomach drop. He had never met the Aerith Guard, never broken a law, never done anything to draw their attention. He worked, he traveled, he lived quietly, yet now, one of the most feared and respected fleets in the galaxy was calling his name. A murmur rose. Did they say human? They called for him? That man there? Aaron felt dozens of eyes on him. His chest tightened. He raised his hand slightly, as if to show he carried no weapon. This has to be a mistake, he muttered, mostly to himself. The voice repeated, firmer now, Aaron, step forward. Before Aaron could move, a sudden stir at the edge of the hall drew every gaze. Soldiers in silver armor entered, their boots striking the floor in unison. Their armor glowed faintly with the same energy lines that marked the ships outside. Each soldier carried a long staff weapon, though none pointed it toward the crowd. Their formation was flawless, their presence overwhelming dot at the center of their line. Escorted with care was Iran. The old alien walked between them, his robe flowing as he moved. But he was not hunched as before. He stood straighter now. Though still with the weight of his years, his eyes were brighter, and his face carried a calm dignity that seemed to silence the whispers around him. Aaron stared, stunned. Iran! The soldiers stopped. The crowd parted around them, creating an open space in the middle of the hall. Iran stepped forward, his pace steady, until he stood only a few feet from Aaron. The soldiers remained behind him, their heads lowered slightly, as if showing respect not to the human, but to the old alien at their front. Iran's gaze met Aaron's. "It is you," he said softly, yet his words carried across the quiet hall. "The one who offered kindness without question." Aaron blinked. "I don't understand. What's happening? Why are these ships here? Why are they asking for me?" Iran's voice grew stronger. "Because your act was seen. Because your choice was not small. Though you thought it so. The guard remembers me still, and by their law, they honor those who honor me." The crowd stirred again. Confused whispers spread like fire. Some recognized Iran's name now, spoken quietly, with disbelief. Others simply stared at the soldiers who bowed their heads toward the elder. Aaron shook his head slowly. "I just bought you a ticket, that's all." Iran stepped closer. "To you, yes, but to me, it was dignity. To the guard, it was loyalty to their high strategist. They see not the coin you gave, but the heart that chose to give it. That is why they have come." Aaron's thoughts raced. High strategist, Iran? He looked at the soldiers again, then at the giant ships waiting outside. Could it be true? The old alien he had helped was not just a traveler, not just a forgotten elder, but a figure of history, a leader who once commanded fleets across them. "Stars!" The commanding soldier stepped forward and raised his voice. "By decree of the Aerith Guard, the human Aaron is recognized. Step with us to the platform. The fleet awaits." Every eye turned back to Aaron. His chest tightened again, his breath caught in his throat. He had wanted only to catch his shuttle, to move quietly from one place to another. Instead, the galaxy had turned its gaze on him. "I didn't ask for this," Aaron whispered. Iran placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "No one asks. Great choices are rarely planned, but they are remembered." Aaron looked into the old alien's eyes. The weariness was still there, but so was strength. In gratitude deeper than words, slowly, almost unwillingly, Aaron nodded. He adjusted his pack and stepped forward, following Iran and the soldiers toward the waiting docks. Behind him, the crowd parted wider, silence falling like a curtain. Outside the glass, the three great ships glowed brighter, their engines humming in unison as if preparing to receive their new guests. Aaron had no idea what awaited him aboard those ships, but he knew one thing for certain. His life, once ordinary, had changed forever. The boarding platform stretched wide, glowing with faint blue light from energy lines that ran across the floor. Large windows revealed the giant ships outside, their sleek frames motionless against the stars. The air itself seemed heavy, filled with quiet tension as Aaron walked beside Iran and the silver-armored soldiers. Every step echoed sharply. The crowd in the terminal had not followed, but Aaron could still feel the weight of their stares. He adjusted his pack nervously. His heart beat faster with each passing moment. The soldiers stopped at the center of the platform. Their captain, taller than the rest, wore a helm with an insignia that glowed faint gold. He stepped forward, dropped to one knee, and lowered his weapon across his arm in salute. "High strategist," the captain said, voice strong yet reverent. Aaron froze. The words struck him like a shockwave. He turned quickly to Iran. The old alien did not flinch at the title. He stood still, calm, almost regal, as if he had carried this weight all his life. "High strategist," Aaron repeated quietly. Iran's gaze stayed fixed on the kneeling captain. For a long moment he said nothing, then finally nodded. I am Iran, once called High Strategist of the Aerith Guard. Many believe I had vanished. Many thought I had chosen silence in my final years. Yet I remained, wandering in shadows, until this human reminded me of what I once stood for. The soldiers all dropped to one knee at once, a perfect movement that rang with respect. Their armor clinked in unison, and their heads bowed. Aaron could hardly believe what he was seeing. The same frail elder he had watched struggle with a ticket machine was now revealed as a leader so respected that entire fleets still bowed before him. Aaron's throat felt dry. He wanted to speak, but no words came. Finally, he forced out a whisper. You're a legend." Aran turned his eyes to him. "A legend is only memory, Aaron. Flesh grows weak. Bones grow brittle. What remains is how others choose to remember. That is what matters." The captain lifted his head. "We have searched for you for decades, High Strategist. The guard is incomplete without your wisdom. Tell us, who is this human that you bring before us?" All eyes shifted to Aaron. He felt a wave of heat rush through him. His hands curled into fists. At his side, he had never been the center of such attention, not from ordinary people, and certainly not from an elite fleet. "He is Aaron," Aran said firmly. "A human who saw an old traveler in need and gave help freely, with no thought of gain. In him I saw the strength my people have long forgotten. He reminded me of what we once valued. Without him, I would not be standing here now." The captain studied Aaron, eyes sharp behind the helm. Then, slowly, he stood and gave a respectful nod. "Then his name will be recorded. His act will be honored." Aaron stepped back slightly. "Wait, this doesn't make sense. I just paid for your ticket. That's all. I didn't do anything great." Aran faced him fully now, voice steady. "Do you know why the guard followed me for so many years? It was not because I won battles, though I did. It was not because I spoke of power, though I had command. It was because I reminded them that strength is nothing without honor. Victory is empty if compassion is lost. That is why they followed. That is why they still bow now. And that is what you gave me in the simplest way, compassion." Aaron shook his head. "But anyone could have no," Aran interrupted, his tone firm. "They did not. I stood there, and all walked past, all turned away. Only you chose to act." The silence stretched. Aaron's words faltered, and he lowered his eyes. Perhaps Aran was right. Perhaps the small choice he had made truly carried weight, not because of the credits, but because of what it showed. The captain raised his staff weapon and struck the floor once. The sound echoed through the platform. "By law of the guard, a kindness shown to the High Strategist is a bond. Eternal. We honor it. We protect it. Human Aaron, know this. The guard will answer if you call." The soldiers struck the floor with their weapons together. A thunderous sound that filled the air like rolling drums. Aaron flinched at the noise, but he also felt something deeper, recognition he had never expected. Aran placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "Do you see now? A simple act can ripple across the stars." Aaron looked up at him. "I didn't want any of this. I'm just me, a worker, a traveler. I'm not someone who deserves fleets bowing in my direction. You are human," Aran said softly. "That is enough." The words lingered in Aaron's mind, heavier than any weapon. The captain gestured toward the docking bridge that connected. "To the lead ship, High Strategist, the fleet awaits your return. Will you come aboard?" Aran gave a slow nod. "Yes, my time in shadow is over." He turned to Aaron. "And you? Will you walk beside me? You need not stay long. But come, see the respect your people now carry in our eyes." Aaron hesitated. Part of him wanted to run back into the crowd, to hide from the weight of all this. But another part, the same part that had pushed him to help Aran at the machine, told him to step forward, not for pride, not for glory, but because turning away now would be the same as those who ignored the old alien before. He took a deep breath, squared his shoulders, and nodded. "All right, I'll come." Aran's face softened, and for the first time since Aaron had met him, the old alien truly smiled. Together they walked toward the docking bridge. The soldiers rose and followed, their steps echoing in unison. Outside, the three ships glowed brighter, engines ready. as if the stars themselves waited for the return of their lost leader. And in the quiet corners of the station, whispers spread. Some spoke of shock, others of awe. But one story took root quickly, that a human, by a simple act of kindness, had brought the high strategist of the Aerith Guard back into the light. The docking bridge hummed softly beneath their feet as Aaron walked beside Iran. Through the transparent panels, he saw the stars framed by the glowing silver hull of the lead ship. Its surface shimmered with energy lines, alive and powerful. Aaron had traveled on shuttles and cargo haulers before, but nothing like this. The sheer scale of the vessel left him speechless. The soldiers marched in formation behind them, every step precise. Their discipline reminded Aaron that these were not ordinary guards. Each one carried the weight of history in their armor. The silence of their march was not cold, it was reverent, a tribute to the elder they escorted. As they entered the ship, the atmosphere shifted. The air was crisp, almost clean, carrying the faint scent of polished metal. Tall corridors stretched out, lined with banners bearing the Aerith insignia. The walls seemed alive with faint blue energy running through them, as though the ship itself breathed. The soldiers led them into a wide chamber at the center of the ship. It was a hall of honor. Aaron realized rows of armored warriors stood at attention, forming two lines that stretched toward a raised platform. At the end of the hall stood the guards' council, their armor marked with different insignias, their presence even more commanding than the soldiers. When Iran stepped into the hall, every warrior lowered his head in unison. The sound of armor shifting filled the chamber like a rolling wave. Aaron felt the weight of history pressing down. This was no ordinary welcome, it was the return of a leader once thought gone forever. The eldest council member stepped forward. His voice carried strength, but also respect. High strategist Iran, the guard remembers. We thought you lost, yet here you stand again. Tell us, why do you return now? And who is the human who walks at your side? All eyes turned to Aaron once more. His palms grew damp. He wished he could vanish into the floor. He had no answer that would sound worthy here. Iran raised his hand slightly, and the hall grew still. I return because I was reminded. I return because this human, Aaron, gave me what many of our kind have forgotten. He saw no legend before him. He saw only an old traveler, weak and failing, and yet he gave kindness. In that act, he reminded me of the values that built the guard itself. Without him, I would still be silent in the shadows. With him, I stand here once more. The council members studied Aaron carefully. And what was this act? Aaron swallowed hard. It was nothing. I just bought him a ticket. That's all. A low murmur ran through the chamber. Some of the warriors tilted their heads, confused. To them, such a small gesture seemed unworthy of such honor. Yet Iran's voice cut through the doubt like a blade. No, he said firmly, it was not nothing. It was dignity. It was respect. When others turned away, he stepped forward. That is what the guard was built upon. Not conquest, not wealth, but the strength to protect those who could not stand alone. If such a value lives in a human, then humanity is a people worth remembering. The hall fell silent again. The words carried more weight than Aaron could bear. His chest tightened as he realized Iran had tied his small act to the entire reputation of his species. The captain who had led them here stepped forward and struck his staff against the floor. By law of the guard, this human is bound to our honor. His act binds us as surely as oath and blood. Should he or his people call upon us, we will answer. The chamber thundered with the sound of weapons striking the ground in unison. Every warrior in the hall echoed the promise. The sound shook Aaron to his core. He had gone from being a quiet technician on a mining colony to someone whose name was now bound to one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. He felt overwhelmed. I don't deserve this, he said softly, almost pleading. Iran placed a steady hand on his shoulder. That is what makes it true. You did not seek reward, yet you acted. Those who act without seeking gain are the ones most worthy of recognition. Aaron looked around the hall. Every gaze was fixed on him, not with scorn, but with respect. Still, the weight of it pressed heavily on him. He thought of Earth, of his family. of ordinary people who live quiet lives they would never believe. This story, yet here it was happening before his eyes. The council member raised his voice once more. Human Aaron, know this, you are now recorded in our chronicles. Your name will be remembered in the Guard's history. Your people will be known as those who showed us the value we had forgotten. The chamber responded again with a thunderous strike of weapons. Aaron flinched at the sound, but a strange warmth spread through him for the first time. He felt not only fear, but also a sense of responsibility. His actions had changed how the Guard saw humanity. That was no small thing. As the ceremony ended, Aran turned to him. Do you see now why I insisted you come aboard? It is not about glory. It is about truth. Your people are young in this galaxy. Many see them as weak, untested. But today, the Guard has seen what lies in the heart of a human. That cannot be. Erased, Aaron nodded slowly. He still felt uncertain, still felt small compared to the grand scale of fleets and councils. But he also felt a spark of pride, not for himself alone, but for all of humanity. The soldiers escorted them from the hall. Outside the windows, the three ships still hovered in perfect formation, their engines glowing brighter now as if ready to move. The station that once bustled with travelers now looked tiny beside their presence. Aaron looked at Aran. So what happens now? Aran's eyes softened. Now, Aaron, you must decide. You can return to your life, or you can walk further on this path. Whatever you choose, the Guard will honor you. But know this, your simple act has already changed much. The galaxy will speak of it. Whether you remain or not, Aaron said nothing. He looked out at the stars once more, endless and cold, yet now they felt different for the first time. He wondered if his place among them was greater than he had ever imagined. The corridors of the great ship stretched long and silent. Aaron walked beside Aran, his footsteps echoing faintly against polished metal floors. The soldiers who had escorted them to the council chamber now trailed behind at a respectful distance. Their armor glimmered under the soft light, but their presence no longer felt threatening. Aaron's mind, however, was far from calm. His chest felt heavy, weighed down by everything that had happened in such a short time. He had entered the station expecting another long, uneventful journey. Now, only hours later, fleets bowed in his direction. His name was bound to the Aerith Guard, and his people had gained honor they had not even asked for. He pressed a hand against his forehead. This is too much, he muttered. Aran glanced at him, his sharp eyes calm despite the lines of age across his face. The weight of kindness is never small, Aaron. That is why many ignore it. They fear its burden. Aaron lowered his hand. But I didn't do anything grand. I didn't fight a battle. I didn't save a planet. I just gave you a ticket. Exactly, Aran said, and yet here we stand. They reached a wide observation deck. Transparent walls opened to the stars, showing the endless stretch of space beyond. The three ships floated in perfect formation, their glowing lines pulsing gently. The mining colony shone faintly below, small and fragile compared to the vessels above it. Aaron stood before the glass, staring out. The stars were the same as always, yet they looked different now. He felt smaller than ever, yet also part of something far larger. I don't understand, he said quietly. Why does this matter so much to you? To them, people help each other all the time back home. It's nothing special. Aran stepped closer, his reflection joining Aaron's in the glass. Do they? Or do many walk by, too busy to notice, too proud to care? You must see the truth, Aaron. In this galaxy, strength is often measured in firepower, in territory, in wealth. But true strength is measured in how one treats the weak. That truth has been forgotten by many. Your people still hold it close. Aaron turned his head slightly. You really believe that? I know it, Aran replied. I lived through wars where planets burned. I led fleets where victory was certain. But honor was not. In those days, I told my soldiers that compassion was our shield as much as our weapons. It kept us from becoming the same as those we fought. Over time, even the Guard began to forget. But today, when you reached into your pocket without hesitation, you reminded me of what I once stood for. Aaron looked down at his hands. They trembled slightly. though he was not sure if it was from fear or from the weight of Iran's words. It doesn't feel like enough. You make it sound like I saved something. But all I did was give dignity. Iran finished for him, yes. And that is more than many in this galaxy will ever give. For a long while they stood in silence, staring at the stars. Aaron tried to picture what Iran had seen in his long life. Battles, alliances, betrayals, victories. The old alien had lived history. Yet in all of it, what mattered most to him now was a single act of kindness. From a human stranger. Finally Aaron asked, "What do I do now? Everyone sees me differently. The guard swore to protect me. Even my people might hear of this one day. I don't know if I can carry it." Iran's voice was gentle, but firm. "You do not need to carry it alone. You are not asked to be more than what you are. The guard honors you, not because you sought it, but because you showed the truth of your people. Live as you always have. Be human. That is enough." Aaron let out a shaky laugh. "That sounds simple, but it doesn't feel simple." Iran gave the faintest smile. "Simple does not mean easy." The soldiers behind them stood silent, like statues. Yet Aaron wondered if they, too, were listening. Perhaps Iran's words were not only for him, but for them as well, a reminder of values they had nearly forgotten. Aaron turned back to the stars. "Do you think humanity really matters that much in the galaxy? We're small compared to all of this. Earth is only one planet. We don't have fleets like yours. We don't have history like yours." Iran placed a hand on the glass, his long fingers spread wide. "When I was young, I thought power was in numbers. The larger the fleet, the greater the strength. But I learned that the smallest gesture can echo further than 1,000 ships. Humanity matters because you remind others of what they should not forget. You are young, yes, but you carry a spark that older races lost long ago. That spark is worth more than an army." Aaron looked at him, trying to absorb every word. A strange calm settled over him, though the weight on his shoulders did not vanish. Perhaps it never would. After a long silence, Iran spoke again. "I will tell you something, Aaron. When I left the guard long ago, I believed I had failed them. I believed my words no longer mattered. That is why I disappeared. But you showed me that truth still lives. In one moment, you gave me reason to return. For that, I will always be in your debt." Aaron shook his head. "I don't want anyone in my debt. I don't want fleets Boeing or promises of protection. I just want to live my life. Then live it." Iran said, "But know this because of you, humanity will never be forgotten by the guard. When your people are spoken of in the stars, it will not be as weak or small. It will be as those who gave kindness when it mattered most." Aaron turned his gaze back to the endless sky. The stars blinked in silence, but they no longer felt distant. For the first time, he felt a strange connection to them, as if his small choice had tied him to the vast galaxy in a way he had never imagined. The doors behind them slid open, and the captain entered. He bowed low before Iran, then turned to Aaron. "The fleet is ready to depart. The High Strategist's journey continues. Do you wish to remain aboard or return to the station?" Aaron hesitated. His old life waited on the colony, ordinary and quiet. But here, beside Iran and the guard, the path ahead was uncertain, heavy, but alive with meaning. He looked at Iran. The old alien said nothing, only watched him with patient eyes. The choice was his alone. Aaron drew a slow breath. The weight of kindness pressed on his shoulders, but it no longer felt impossible. It felt like something he could learn to carry. The chamber door closed softly behind the captain, leaving Aaron with Iran once more. The choice pressed heavy on his chest: stay aboard this vessel of legends, or step back into his ordinary life on the station below. He had never faced such a decision. His whole life, choices had been simple: which route to work, which meal to eat, which shift to take. Now, his choice would echo far beyond himself. Aaron stood before the wide glass of the observation deck. The stars glimmered against the darkness, eternal and unchanging. Below them, the mining colony's light sparkled faintly, so small compared to the massive ships above. For a moment, he longed for the safety of that simple world. But another feeling rose stronger inside him, a strange pull toward the unknown. Oran watched him quietly, his hands folded behind his back. His presence was steady, like a calm flame that would not waver no matter how hard the wind blew. He did not rush Aaron. He understood that true choices needed silence to grow. Finally, Aaron spoke. "If I stay, everything changes. If I leave, I go back to my old life. But it won't feel the same anymore." Oran gave a small nod. "That is the way of truth. Once seen, it cannot be unseen. Whatever you choose, you will carry what has already happened." Aaron pressed his hand against the glass. "I'm only one man. What difference could I make in a fleet like this?" Oran stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "You already made a difference, not with weapons or with command, but with something stronger. Do not think you must be more than what you are. The Guard does not ask for a soldier or a strategist. It honors you for being human." The words sank deep into Aaron. He turned and studied the elder's face, the lines of wisdom carved. "By years and battles. If I stay, what will I become?" Oran's eyes softened. "You will become yourself. But you will see the galaxy as few humans have ever seen it. You will see stars your people have never named. You will learn what kindness means to those who have forgotten it, and you will carry your people's spirit with you wherever we go." Aaron's heart pounded. Fear whispered to him, telling him to turn back, to choose the safety of what he already knew. But another voice, quiet yet steady, urged him forward. The same voice that had told him to reach into his pocket at the ticket station, the voice that had said, "Help the old traveler." That voice had changed everything. He drew a long breath. "I will stay." Oran's expression did not break into joy or surprise. Instead, he gave a slow, solemn nod. "Then so it shall be." The captain returned and bowed once more. "The fleet is ready to depart." Aaron followed Oran as they walked through the vast corridors once more. The soldiers saluted as they passed, the sound of armor ringing through the halls. Aaron felt their eyes on him, not with judgment, but with respect. Each step he took felt heavier, yet at the same time lighter, as if he was stepping out of his old life into something larger. They entered the command hall, a vast space where glowing panels floated in the air, displaying star charts and energy readings. At the center stood a circular platform where the fleet's leaders gathered. Oran stepped onto the platform, his presence commanding without effort. Aaron stood at his side, uncertain, but the leaders welcomed him with quiet bows. He realized then that his choice was already written into the heart of the Guard. The captain raised his staff. "High Strategist Oran has returned. The Guard takes flight once more." The chamber trembled as the great ship stirred to life. Energy surged through its walls. Humming like a chorus, outside the glass, the stars shifted as engines awakened. The two escort ships moved into perfect position, their glowing lines brightening. As they prepared to follow, Aaron braced himself against the railing as the ship lifted. The mining colony below grew smaller, its lights fading into the dark. He thought of the people down there, going about their work, unaware of what was happening above. He wondered if they would ever know that one of their own had joined the fleet of the Earth Guard. As the ship glided into open space, Oran turned to him. "Do you feel it, Aaron? The galaxy opens before you now. Your life is no longer only your own. You carry the memory of your people with you." Aaron swallowed hard. "That is what frightens me. What if I fail them?" Oran's gaze was steady. "You cannot fail by being true. Do not fear mistakes. Fear only forgetting the values that brought you here. Hold on to them, and you will never fail." The ship's engines roared to full strength, though their sound was soft inside the walls. Stars stretched into streaks as the fleet entered faster flight. Aaron's heart leapt as the view changed. The endless sky was no longer still. It rushed past them, alive with motion. For the first time, he felt not like a passenger, but like someone at the beginning of a journey. Oran placed a hand on his shoulder. "Remember this, Aaron. One day, your people will rise into the stars not as wanderers, but as equals, and when that day comes, they will not be alone. The Guard will stand with them." Because one human once chose to show kindness, Aaron's breath caught. He stared at the stars rushing past and thought of Earth, of the countless people who lived their lives never knowing what lay beyond. He wished they could see what he saw now. He wished they could understand that their smallest actions mattered, more than they believed. The platform lights dimmed as the ship settled into its new course. The fleet was on the move, leaving the colony far behind. Aaron stood tall, still uncertain, still nervous, but with a spark of courage burning inside. The old life was gone. Ahead lay the unknown dot, and for the first time, Aaron was ready.